One thing I must say with this season is that I'm really impressed with what Ufotable is doing so far with this arc. When I heard that episode 3 was only adapted from a page and a half and episode 4 was only 2.5 pages, I'm not even gonna hold you, I was low-key about to cry. But what we got in these episodes with Tengen and Tokito was so good, and Ufotable so far is cooking with this season. Episode 3 was 95% filler and it mostly revolved around Tanjiro reuniting with the king of flashiness Tengen, and boy, I was straight geeking. Tanjiro fully recovers after getting that protein from the soba noodles, and you know this kid needs to get his weight up to fight against Muzan. We see the continuation of Tanjiro and Tomioka's eating contest, and their contest was simple. Whoever gave up eating first would have to meet the other's demands, and these Hashras are really built different because Tomioka was eating like the rent was due, but Tomioka, being the humble guy he is, rigged their competition, telling Tanjiro that he will join the Hashra training program only if Tanjiro can finish his last bowl of soba. This man is the GOAT. He could have continued eating if he wanted to, but decided to force himself to take part in the training. So everyone pretty much won in this situation. Tomioka learned how to live on for the people who sacrificed their lives for him. Tanjiro fulfilled Master Ubayashiki's wish to bring Giyu back, and also the restaurant owner because he made bank that day. We then see the return of the badass one-armed ninja Tengen, and this guy is whipping all of these nameless demon slayers into shape, and god damn, I know that the demon slayer training is supposed to be grueling, but all of these poor kids except for Tanjiro was suffering. The world of demon slayer is so unfair when you think about it, because if you're the average demon slayer, your life basically amounts to being a sacrificial pawn for the stronger characters. Hey man, the game is the game. You know, when you think about it, there really are no other strong demon slayers besides the Hashra and obviously Tanjiro and his friends. I know Tanjiro is the main character and all, but in this universe the gap between him and everyone else is ridiculously wide. Bro is like Real Madrid in the Champions League. When he took the final selection exam, he was already stronger than your average slayer because he trained under the former Water Hashra for 2 years. I also believe in this world, part of becoming a strong slayer relies on luck as well. It's either that you're someone who's had a breathing style passed down to you, or you're a freak of nature like Inosuke, who just remixed an existing breathing style to create his own. Even Genya passed the exam without having any breathing styles, so you just have to be cut from a different cloth. I do wish that there were regular slayers in this anime who were strong in their own way, who were not a part of the main cast, because seeing Tanjiro completely wash all of these NPCs was painful to see. Tanjiro was training like Captain America in this bitch. These training montages was made even funnier, especially since every person here is ripped as hell but they're still trash. But you got to love Tanjiro's optimism in this episode, because even though he's on another level skill wise, one thing about Tanjiro that this is a guy who always leads by example. He was motivating the regular slayers to push on and to become stronger. And this episode should have been called Demon Glazer, because Tanjiro created a whole fan base for himself that day. They were so amazed that he defeated 2 upper ranks. They were practically shitting themselves thinking about it. The one thing that this episode did well was that it showed the struggle that Tengen is still grappling with even though he's retired. He still wants to fight and he's blaming himself for retiring. The thing is, Tengen wanted to retire. It's not that he was forced, and his guilt is a form of PTSD that he probably developed over the years of him being a demon slayer, which explains why he's reliving all of those moments again in his dreams. It's quite sad because for Tengen, this life is all he knows, and for most demon slayers, is either you fight demons or you die doing so. Tengen probably feels that he's less of a demon slayer because he's unable to hunt demons anymore, even though he agreed to retire at the request of his wives. And not gonna lie, if I was him, I would just retire in peace and live with my 3 wives. Just look at these women. This is a life worth living right here. Though Tengen isn't in his prime anymore, he's still valuable to the Demon Slayer Corps as a trainer.
You believe that?
He didn't have to train these recruits, but he still chooses to. You could think of it as him trying to make up for not being able to fight himself. Also, considering that the Demon Slayer Corps are gearing up to fight Muzan, having Tengen available is also a smart move, because just in case everybody dies, you'll still have Tengen who will preserve the knowledge and the traditions of the Demon Slayers to carry on to the next generation. Tengen tells these scrubs that they'll be doing a combat training session in the mountains. He pretends to be a demon and starts taking out all of the regulars, and him and Tanjiro start clashing with each other, and this fight was so good, man. Just because this man's got 1 arm, that didn't mean shit. Seeing Tengen in action always puts a smile on my face. This sparring session wasn't dragged out, and what was even more cool is that they kept the power scaling intact. Even though Tanjiro has come a long way from where he was in season 1, he still isn't stronger than Tengen, who is injured and was holding back significantly. Tanjiro is able to keep up with Tengen's movements, which was sick, but our boy still has a long way to go before he reaches Hashira level. Their fight looks so epic that all of the recruits thought they were watching a battle between upper ranks. Tanjiro and Tengen were just merely exercising, and these dudes felt like they were watching Sukuna vs Maharaga. The recruits try getting involved and they start backing Tanjiro, and Tengen ends up whooping all of their asses. Even though none of them could defeat him, he's still impressed by their resolve, and because of Tanjiro, all of the recruits are now motivated to work harder and to become stronger to support him and the Hashira in their battle against Muzan. They've pretty much accepted that they're gonna die soon. These guys are just preparing for that day. The episode also added Sanemi and Obanai hanging out, and the two of them were talking about the Infinity Castle. It was great that the Infinity Castle situation wasn't brushed over. Shout out to Ufotable for that. These two decided to fight each other to push themselves, and yeah, about that.
Oh my god! Wow!
While Sanemi and Obanai are sparring, Tokito asks if he can join in, and so Obanai and Sanemi decide to jump him. This fight was the best part of episode 4, real talk, because the animation was fluid and clean. My only complaint was that it wasn't longer. I love that part, man. Tokito went off. After fighting the upper moons, he became so much stronger that he caught these two off guard. One of the things that Ufotable is doing extremely well with these new additions is that they're adding interactions between the Hashira, which adds more depth to their characters. Like, think about it, guys. When have the Hashira actually worked together? Don't worry, I'll wait. They don't really cooperate like that. Even in the Swordsmith village arc, Mitsuri and Tokito pretty much fought separately during the entire season. And especially since most of these recruits are weak as fuck, the Hashira are probably spread out fighting demons. That would explain why Sanemi and Obanai were so shocked at his abilities. They just weren't familiar with his game. Tanjiro moves on from Tengen to train with Tokito, and fam, Tokito was so harsh with these recruits. But unlike Tengen, who was more of a drill sergeant, Tokito was cold and apathetic. But when he sees Tanjiro, he completely switches up and starts cheesing. These lot are now besties, and he's treating him much better than the other demon slayers. This episode has some contrast from the last one, and that comes in the form of the regular slayers. Tengen's episode was directed in a way to make us laugh at the weak slayers, but in this episode, you genuinely feel sorry for them. Tokito's training was so intense that it looked like he was gonna kill them, and honestly, these dudes should just get another job because this ain't it. Ufotable are really trying to make us build a connection with these rookies, and if you've read the manga, you know why. Tanjiro and Tokito train, and he's impressed with his progress, and he decides to pass him on to the next Hashira. Afterwards, everybody bonds with each other by having a paper airplane contest, and who would have thought that there would be a paper airplane contest in Demon Slayer. This gave off a slice of life feel to the episode, and it was very symbolic, showing their shared interest in killing demons and defeating Muzan. Speaking of Muzan, we see Nakime deploying her surveillance eyeballs to spy on the demon slayers, and yes, in case you didn't know, after Hantengu's death, she was promoted to upper rank 4. Things are coming together nicely this season, and I'm enjoying the anime only content that they're adding. Despite my initial concerns for the season, Ufotable are really doing a good job. They're fleshing out not just our main cast but also the trainees, which is brilliant because they're setting up that Infinity Castle arc to hit us hard. Thanks to everyone who took out the time to watch this video. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts on the episode, and please be sure to check out the link in my description for a Demon Slayer manga box set if you're interested in adding that to your collection. Until next week, stay blessed.